Let's watch the Accessibility Summer Showcase.
Hello, and welcome to the 2026 Accessibility Summer Showcase. Now entering its fourth year, this event is still the only video game trailer showcase fully dedicated to highlighting trailers for games that have made an effort to be accessible to a wide range of disabled players. I'm Laura Kate Dale, better known online as Laura K. Buzz. I'm a white woman with bright blue hair, shaved short on one side, wearing glasses and a deep blue dress. I know you're here for the video game trailers, so I'm going to try and keep this introduction brief. Over the next 45 minutes or so, you're going to see a bunch of trailers for upcoming video games. Some of them are being made by disabled game developers, and all of them are being designed to be accessible to as wide a range of disabled players as possible. We can't promise that every video game in the showcase will be playable by every person tuning in, but our aim is to make sure that if a game seems exciting, you know
Nice
up front whether or
transparency,
not
nice
you're going to be able
clarity.
to play it. Our hope is that for most of you tuning in, there will be at least a handful of games shown during the showcase that will have the correct mix of accessibility settings and features that you need to be able to play the game upon release. If you want to see most of today's games in one place, organized by accessibility support type, you can check out our Steam event page by going to bit.ly/Summer Showcase 2026. There you'll find demos for some of our games, as well as be able to wishlist any games that catch your eye. Our headline sponsors for this year's Accessibility Summer Showcase are Manycat Studios and TechRaptor. I'll have more information about both of our headline sponsors a little later in today's showcase. Until then, a huge thank you to both of them for their support. The Accessibility Summer Showcase is a non-profit event, and their support has been invaluable in allowing us to once again offer American Sign Language, British Sign Language, and audio-described versions of the showcase. Well, that's enough from me.
This
Let's
is really
jump into the
good.
game trailers.
Hi, I'm Tommy, one of 3 stunning developers from Daydream Gallery, an indie game collective creating extremely cool and unique experiences. Trading Card Inspector is a quirky, hilarious take on the cozy job simulator for a job that doesn't and shouldn't exist. You'll be asked by the nefarious Habubis Corporation to value real cards and shred fake cards from their award-winning trading card game. Along the way, you'll make friends, collect a handsome paycheck, and unravel a grand corporate conspiracy. Our art style isn't just super slick, cool, and cute, it's high contrast by default, with 40 color palette options to unlock and choose from. You'll be able to pick out the colors you find easiest to see, or whatever colors you find cool. We've also added a pair of settings to increase the size of cards and memos, great for players using a small or handheld screen who may need assistance due to our 1-bit art style. We thought it was really important to avoid timed inputs. There can sometimes be a lot going on in Trading Card Inspector, so we wanted to give players all the time in the world to make the right choices, both in gameplay and in the story. There is one gameplay modifier that adds some challenge by slowly dissolving the valuation criteria on the card over time. If that's not your cup of tea, you can turn it off in the pause menu anytime and choose not to enable it in endless mode, with no penalty.
Okay.
All you need to play Trading Card Inspector is a mouse, or any pointing device where you can left-click and drag. It's as simple as that. You can also play this game with a controller or on your Steam Deck. In addition to the mouse controls, you can also press the up, down, left and right arrows on your keyboard or controller D-pad to change the value amount. In addition to all of that, we have custom volume controls as well, and a dedicated option to remove unwanted rotation from our cards, making them easier to read. Big thanks to Laura for putting this showcase together every year and for letting us be a part of it. We hope to see you when Trading Card Inspector launches very soon, this June.
This is actually pretty fun. Oh, all that shit popping up. Trading Card Inspector. That's only for 49. I mean, if it's 49, then it's like super short. Wouldn't it be better to just get a Steam sale then? Let's see. That's the wish list. How about that?
Welcome to Torment Hexus, a game about trying to fix the world, one dead CEO at a time. You're an ex-battle mage who has decided to solve the problem of capitalism by ejecting its leaders out the nearest window. Torment Hexus mixes tactical roguelike combat and match 3 puzzling into a Magitech cyberpunk setting.
Quick,
Gameplay is turn-based.
take a shot every
so
single
no
time they
need to
say
control
roguelike.
any inputs. It can be played with a mouse, keyboard, or gamepad. And of course, input bindings can be remapped. Visual effects like scan lines and bloom can be disabled for increased visual clarity. And for people with photosensitivity, we've added an option that swaps out the most intense visual effects with more simplified and subdued versions. The most exciting thing we're trying to do with Torment Hexus is make it accessible to blind and low-sight individuals. The game exposes a running narration of events to the operating system, which can be vocalized by screen-reading software like NVDA.
Tactical grid. You at F7 with 39/100 health. Tile is threatened by Ghost Alpha at F3. Deleter Alpha at D7. You can move left to E7. You can move right to G7. You cannot move up to F6. Blocked by Fountain. You can move down to F8, but Tile is threatened by Ghost Alpha at F3. Well, Alpha at B1 with 30 health. Alpha at C7 with 15 health. Deleter Alpha at D7 with 20 health.
This is challenging work. The game has a lot going on, and it's difficult to present the information the player needs to know as a linear sequence of words. We're working with consultants in the accessibility community to iterate on the tech, and we hope that the final game will be one that everyone can play.
Alright. They definitely have to work a little more on that translating thing though.
In this palette platformer, you play
I should
as
have talking way too
an Ivor
fast.
boy on a journey to reunite his late grandfather's band. Travel across the diverse landscapes of the Andes, solve unique color-based puzzles, and experience a heartwarming narrative steeped in South American culture. To keep the world vibrant while accommodating colorblind players, Colorbound includes 3 alternate color schemes. The Protanopia and Deuteranopia corrected palettes may be useful to those with red-green colorblindness, while the Tratanopia corrected palette can help with blue-yellow colorblindness. For additional visual accessibility, players can disable camera shake, increase the size of the UI and cursor, and adjust resolution. Colorbound is designed to be approachable for players with limited mobility. Though there are some puzzles that involve timed inputs, they never require button holds or rapid presses. Full input remapping is available for keyboard, mouse, and controller. All mouse inputs can be remapped to keyboard controls, so the game is playable with just a keyboard. There are also presets for one-handed controls,
That's pretty fun.
allowing players to comfortably play the game with left or right hand alone. There are no time limits on puzzles.
Finally,
or
a game I
penalties
can
for
play with
making
one
mistakes.
hand.
Most puzzles can be solved in only a few moves. If you ever get stuck, hints are available in all levels. Panpipe Studio, with support from Whitethorn Games, has worked hard to make the game as inclusive and accessible as it can be. We hope you will enjoy playing Colorbound, releasing later this year on PC and consoles.
Hi there, my name is Elisabeth Siversen, also
Yeah,
known
demo.
as Arevia Online, and I am a disabled gamer and accessibility consultant from Norway. I'm a pale white woman in my 30s with dark blonde hair, wearing a green jacket and a white t-shirt. The next game that is coming up is the first big Norwegian game I have had the honor to be an accessibility consultant for. Working with the developers at Megapop has been an incredible experience, both due to their constant want to learn and adapt to new information, and due to their hope of making this the most accessible Reef Builder out there. From the first time I met the dev team at Megapop, it has been obvious to me that they truly value and understand the need for accessibility in gaming. They have tirelessly met every barrier I have pointed out with creativity, trying to expand what accessibility can be in this genre, while at the same time understanding their own limitation. It was especially impressive to see how Siv, the UI and accessibility programmer, worked with making this game fully playable with both a controller and mouse only, developing an option for on-screen camera control and zoom. And with that, let me introduce you all to the next game made by Megapop and out now. This is Life Below.
This is Life Below, a city builder that takes place in the ocean, a reef builder.
Accessibility has been a priority for us since the start. The goal is to make Life Below as fun and playable for anyone who wants to play it. That means not just adding some settings, but trying to bake in accessibility into the game itself. Let me show you what I mean. We can start by picking a difficulty mode. We have peaceful, challenge, and then we also have balance. We of course have to add time controls, and most people don't think of this as accessibility, but it allows you to pace the game however you want. We also have some settings related to that, like pausing during critical moments automatically, pausing when the game is unfocused, like when your cursor leaves the screen, or if you're in a very complex menu. We've also added a bunch of tooltips to help you guide through the game. My favorite example is when you're placing down buildings. The coral is red, and it's explaining to me exactly why I can't place it here. We have a few UI settings, like changing the scale here, change the transparency of UI objects, and reduce the motion in case you get motion sick. You can control the camera sensitivity and the scroll sensitivity and a few other motion settings here. Life Below is compatible with pretty much anything that your computer recognizes as a controller, something like a gamepad, but also like an Xbox adaptive controller. But you can also play the entire game with just a mouse, with the on-screen camera control setting, which opens up the game to be played with the eye tracking technologies. We also can't forget about the rebinding menu, where you can rebind most actions, which lets you infinitely customize the way you interact with Life Below. We've also got other motor function based settings in here, like input cooldown and stamp style multi-selection, and we've been really careful about not adding any QuickTime events or rapid button presses into the game. We are super proud of the features, however there are some things we couldn't add. Text-to-speech and high contrast UI modes will sadly not be available. The game is also stereo only, so you can't switch it to mono audio. And although we do have difficulty modes, you can't change these in the middle of the game. We felt like that was kind of important to mention. Okay, so to summarize, we have custom time control with unique cognitive settings, UI scaling and reduced UI animations, motion sickness settings. The game can be played with just a mouse, but we offer a variety of control methods, and additional motor settings. We hope to see you in the reef in Life Below.
Enough wasting time. Let's get to work.
Hello, I'm Fabrice Breton, a French developer. You might know my previous game Brock the Investigator, an adventure game mixed with beat 'em up, which has full accessibility to blind players. This is our new project Celsius Trace, made in collaboration with Cypher, an American friend.
Oh man, not before you go.
In this game, taking place in the same dystopian universe, we are exploring a group of rat characters named Squealers in a visual novel focused on survival, where you'll make choices that matter with multiple endings. The game has full voice acting, and the accessibility offers narrated menus, large fonts, hotspots with arrow keys and more. I'll add audio descriptions for the release. A demo is available on Steam, GOG and itch.io, and I invite you to wishlist Celsius Trace on Steam.
It's worse than I expected. What? Time's up. There's nowhere left to run to now, Chief.
I'm Evie. This is my room. I like purple. People always say I see the world differently, which is weird, because I can see it just fine. Oh, the leaves are so crunchy. It's the hearing it, and the smelling it, and the everything at once thing. That's the tricky part. But I have a system. My favorite pen. Why is it here? You figure out what things mean. You put them in the right order, and sometimes the world gets a little quieter.
Canvas of Thoughts was built around different ways of experiencing the world.
Yeah, I did most of it.
Sensory-aware gameplay and player-paced interactions.
Tick, tock, tick, tock.
Customizable accessibility settings, including colorblind support, and adjustable dialogue pacing. A safe space to slow down, stim, and recover. created alongside neurodiverse community feedback.
I liked some parts.
I know that. You can focus really well sometimes.
Ich verstehe Liebe nicht. It looks like someone forgot to
Kind of like a little misfortune kind of game.
McDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O.
Hey, why do you always draw by yourself?
Because it's quieter. Wishlist canvas of thoughts on Steam.
Hope you're enjoying the showcase so far. I'm popping in briefly to tell you a little bit more about studios and as the studio operates. TechRaptor.net is a games media website. Opinions, feed staff write IT AI stance, and put a portion of their profits each year towards supporting great causes. Seeing this, they'll already be to get back to the game.
Hi, I'm Yamako, a solo indie game developer, and I make games under the name ./badgames.zip. This is my first project, released last October, called An Unplayable Game. It's a short puzzle platformer that's about accessibility settings in video games, with half an hour of developer commentary that's unlocked when you reach the end.
30 minutes. Talk.
The game is designed to fully accommodate players who typically can't play platformers because of the dexterity and timing that's required to play them. It's only about 15 minutes long at most to avoid fatigue, and it was designed for comfortable mouse-only single-button controls, or gamepad with a virtual cursor, if you prefer. You won't need to hold down any buttons or keys, as it's completely beatable with only short presses. You also don't need to worry about dealing with tight timing, even on difficult jumps. There are game speed settings that let you play entirely at your own pace with no timed input whatsoever. For those that might have issues reading the game's stylized pixel font, there's also a toggle to switch it to Atkinson Hyperlegible, which is a sans serif font with a focus on distinct letter forms. As a final note, the main menu does include an ongoing static noise, but for those who are bothered by those repetitive noises, there's a prompt to mute that sound effect completely before you even reach the main menu for the first time. So, if you don't want to hear it, you never have to. An Unplayable Game was a huge passion project for me, and I truly hope you enjoy it. So far, it's been nominated for 3 awards, and even won an award for Most Innovative Game at a local indie game showcase event. It also has a 94% very positive review score on Steam, and it's free, downloadable on Steam or playable in browser on itch.io. Thank you for your time and for your interest in An Unplayable Game. Now, please enjoy the rest of the showcase.
Highway Noir is a stylized arcade driving game that drops you into car chases straight out of an action movie. You will weave through traffic as you escape police, take down enemies, and race against the clock, all in stark black and white with flashes of colour. When you land in the main menu of Highway Noir, you can jump into Instaplay mode with a single click. Optional customization of features like objective, number of police, and traffic density are available. For the campaign, a story so far recap is offered, but no spoilers here. Moving on. Story missions include voice dialogue to drive the plot and feed you objectives. The volume of dialogue, music, and sound effects can all be adjusted separately, and subtitles are on by default. Tone tags can be enabled that flag up if a character is angry or being sarcastic, for example.
For a moment there, I was worried there wasn't a plan.
Minimalist white text on black fits the neo-noir aesthetic, but it can be tweaked for visibility. There is an option to simply increase the size of all UI elements on screen, as well as a toggle to black text on white. For gameplay itself, Vision Assist will emphasize obstacles and gameplay elements. Objectives, threats, and rivals are always color-coded, so you know what you're dealing with. The color codes can be customized for a palette with colorblindness-friendly options. Highway Noir is fast and chaotic, but even here help is at hand. A game speed slider allows you to slow down the action, giving you more room to breathe. That action can be controlled by keyboard, controller, or even mouse alone. All of these settings can be used independently to give you maximum control over your experience. Make the road your battleground and take down the conspiracy in whatever way works for you. Highway Noir is out now and available on Steam.
In Jigrift, the world is a giant jigsaw puzzle. Play as Bert, a castaway on a mythical island that is broken into many pieces. Connect puzzle pieces to explore new paths, discover hidden items, and reassemble the scattered world. Just like life on the tropical island you washed ashore on, the game moves at a relaxed, stress-free pace. Complete puzzles and platforming sections without any time limits or punishments for failure. There are no quick time events, long button holds, or rapid presses. As you reassemble Jigrift Island, you'll meet the three-eyed frogs who call it home. If you ever get stuck on a puzzle, some of them might be able to give you a hint. Progress dialogue at your own speed and repeat conversations as often as you need. For example, you can replay the tutorial by talking to Henriette in her house on the starting island. Rebinding is available for keyboard and controller inputs. You can separately invert controls for camera movement, zoom, and puzzle piece movement. There are a few options to help with visual accessibility. Choose between 4 cursor sizes: small, default, large, and extra large. Swap between light or dark mode for text boxes. Increase the field of view to see more of the world, or decrease it to reduce distractions in your periphery. The teams at Empty Castle and Whitethorn Games are so excited to share Jigrift with you. Look forward to the release later this year on PC and consoles.
Hi, I'm Colo. I'm a disabled gamer and content creator, and you can find me primarily on Twitch, but in all of the other places under the name Hello, it's Colo. When thinking about why games accessibility is important to me, it's a really interesting one because actually, it's not really about the games. Hear me out. It is about the games. I love gaming. Gaming is my job, it is my hobby, it is my community. It is about the games, but actually it's more than that. When a game is accessible for me, it's about being included. It's about being invited, being acknowledged. It's about being able to access something as independently as possible or completely independently in a world where independent access isn't actually that common. So when a developer adds accessible options, to me, it's important because it's an acknowledgement. It's a recognition. It's a, we see you and we haven't excluded you. And that is worth its weight in gold. Games accessibility is important to me because it allows me to do something independently, to have agency, to belong to a community, and to feel acknowledged. And also to play really cool games. I know at the start I said it wasn't about games, but it's also about the really cool games too. So to all of the developers out there and the creators out there going out of their way to make their media accessible, thank you. It doesn't go unnoticed.
Hey, I'm Talon, and I was one of the judges on the Games for Blind Gamers 5 Game Jam. As all of the previous jams, this one was a blast, and I want to talk you through some of the games that came out of this jam. We had a lot of groups this time around as well, so quite a bit fewer solo developers, which is always great to see. And nothing illustrates this more than the top 2 games that were selected by the judges for the Games for Blind Gamers Jam 5. The top spot is taken by Valencia Tales, and this one is an ambitious game, and it's heavily inspired by The Legend of Zelda, and it basically ticks all of the boxes. It's a first-person action-adventure game where your goal is to save Valencia from the clutches of evil. You do this by utilizing your divining rod, which basically lets you see what's around you in the world. So you can turn around and it will tell you what's in front of you and what's around you. It has features for locking on to different things like landmarks or buildings or waypoints. And it also helps you with combat, so it tells you how far away you are from an enemy. And all of these things happen in the game world. There's no separate fighting modality or anything like that. The story is really nice, and there's a bunch of cutscenes, and there are boss fights with different mechanics for different bosses. There are puzzles, small puzzles that you have to solve to progress from one area to another. And for a game made in such a short time, there's a surprising amount of variety in there, together with the music and the area descriptions and all of the dialogue, and it was a very enjoyable experience. And I was definitely surprised to play it as a game made for the Games for Blind Gamers Jam.
You know, my chicken finder. Have I never shown you before? It's this rod that helps me find my chickens when they get out. It looks mighty fancy, but I'm pretty sure that's all it does, finds chickens.
We tend to not get these kinds of games very heavily, especially not these ambitious kinds of games. But we got multiple of them this year because number 2 in the list is Impulse Response, which is a game oozing with atmosphere and amazing voice acting and a gripping story, which I don't want to spoil too much because I think both of these games are definitely worth playing through. It's a first-person puzzle game, I would say. There's a number of puzzles which get progressively more difficult as you play through the game, and with each one you complete, you unlock more of the story, which is basically told by your characters as you progress through the game. You uncover clues as you go. It's a horror-themed game, so the music and the voice acting and all of the sound effects match that atmosphere perfectly. And this one has a special mechanic where the acoustics of the room are actually modeled in code. So you hear the reverb where the room opens up. You have a mechanic where you can basically clap or like tap your foot, and it will play a click sound, which will then echo through the room and tell you where you can go and where you cannot.
Yellow alert. Reactor offline.
Okay, shut up.
Yellow login success. Engineer Cadence. Quinn, welcome. Please complete health check.
Yeah, health check, then I can get out of the cryo room.
There's a fair number of logic puzzles in this, and I found those to be very enjoyable. Number 3 in the list is Delver's Folly, and this is quite a different game, but it's no less ambitious. It's a roguelike where you basically navigate through a dungeon. You're trying to find the boss. Every time you move to a different section of the dungeon, you get to choose from a list of 3 rooms, which it could be. A lot of these rooms have different properties and different things that they can do. For example, you can grow things if you have the prerequisite rooms linking to it, or you have a chain which is unbroken to that room. For example, water. You can search for materials in each room or for keys or other things. And there's a lot of variety in this game. This one you can also play for a very long time, and there's a lot of replayability in this. There's also amazing voice acting in this, which gives the game a lot of character. I highly recommend you play this one if you like this kind of game. Number 4 is a game made by one of our regulars, Shift Backtick. In Omega Reach, you explore the universe. You are the curator of a conservatory, and you're tasked with finding instruments and interesting facts about planets and their surrounding space. There's a ton of content here, and you can play each of those instruments. And maybe it also has a dungeon of its own to explore. Some fun little characters, and the writing is definitely very unique and definitely very Shift Backtick. So if you love their games, you should absolutely play this one also. All of the sound design is synthesized in real time, but where most of Shift Backtick's games are first-person games, this one is a little bit of a different perspective. And number 5 is Fourfold Onslaught, a wave-based first-person zombie shooter with fantastic audio and lots of ways to upgrade your character as you play. The sound design in this one is fantastic. Lots of binaural audio goodness, and it definitely gets quite challenging as time progresses. There are so many games in this game jam that I think are worth playing, so I don't really have the time to go through all of them. But some notable mentions, And Then She Slept, which I would classify as a kind of Five Nights at Freddy's style game where you protect your sister from evil monsters and help her to fall asleep. Toasty, which is a fun little card game where you have to make toast and not sandwiches. Tape Memories, where you zoom in on different tracks of different audio to figure out what happened last night, and many, many, many more. We've had 35 entries in total, from maze games to visual novels, reaction games, side-scrolling platformers. Some games were more of a prototype, some were finished, so it was a nice bunch of different things this time around. This was also the first Games for Blind Gamers jam that happened after Godot added AccessKit integration to their games and the editor. And this is an exciting development because it means that for the first time, blind people actually get access to a fully featured game engine without having to write everything by hand or use code-first frameworks. this should open up exciting new collaboration avenues in the future, because before now it was pretty difficult for blind and sighted developers to collaborate together if the sighted developers were already used to an engine-based workflow. So if you are a developer and you're thinking of making something like this, or if you're interested in audio games, or if you're blind and you want more games to play, I would highly recommend checking out the Game Jam and all of the previous Game Jams and keeping feelers out for any future Game Jams. Anyway, that's it from me, and I hope this was interesting to you.
Hello again, everyone. I hope you're continuing to enjoy this year's Accessibility Summer Showcase. I'm just popping in quickly to let you know that art asset production for the showcase this year is sponsored by Riot Rockette, a queer art punk collective that blends elements of psychopop and circus dance in their live performances.
Wonderful sight you'll see tonight.
You can find a link to it down in the Savant-Garde.
The game we're currently developing. It's called Super Weird. In this game, you and your friends, or all by yourself, control little robots.
I think I've seen this already, right?
Fight. We are ready that they don't. First, we've
Yeah, they showed this already.
Super Weird to be opens. The interface is easy to adjust. You can increase menu contrast, the curve logs, and to be easily and together.
I'm super excited to tell you a bit about Hurdles, our Spyro and Zelda-inspired adventure game where you play as a magical dog. We are a small team of 3 people at the core, and the hero of our game is actually inspired by my real-life companion. From the start,
Isn't
we want
that cute?
accessibility to be part of our design philosophy, instead of something we only think about at the end. One conscious choice we made was to keep the controls consistent throughout the game. You do not level up or unlock new powers. Instead, you rescue magical creatures called Hurdles, and they give you contextual abilities while keeping the control scheme the same. They let you bounce, glide, break walls, swim up waterfalls, and more. New Hurdles open up additional paths through our world, and they allow for all sorts of emergent gameplay. There are always multiple ways to progress, so where you go and what you choose to do is completely up to you. We also have puzzles in our game, but if a puzzle does not work for you, we do not want that to be a barrier. You can get hints, disengage easily, or use options including auto-solving the puzzle. There is
Perfect.
no combat or death in Hurdles. So if you miss a jump and fall down, you do not just respawn at the top and have to try again. Instead, you continue on your way and you might even discover something new, something you might have missed if you had made the jump. Speaking of jumping, we added options like platform snapping and ledge guard. For some players, these can make platforming less frustrating, and for blind and low vision players, options like these can be essential to making the game playable at all. We already have a lot of accessibility features in the game. Things like a high contrast mode that lets you define the colors, but also sliders for brightness, contrast and saturation. Options that let you play one-handed, or give you more control over character mechanics like changing how jumping or running works. Other options help with different types of motion sickness. We generally try to provide as many ways as we can to let you customize the experience to your needs. One of our favorite features is that everything that is a toggle in the options menu can be mapped to a button. So for example, if you only need high contrast in certain situations, you can bind it to a button. Then you just turn it on when you need it, do the thing, and turn it off again afterwards. We want accessibility to be accessible during play, not hidden away in menus. Starting today, we are running a closed playtest with a focus on accessibility and would really appreciate your feedback. You can sign up now at playhurdles.com. The website also has a list of all current accessibility options available in the game. If Hurdles seems interesting to you, please consider wishlisting and joining our community.
Frame of Mind, A Game of Thoughts, plays with inclusion, representation and accessibility. It's made by me, a disabled developer, to share some experiences and insights. You can expect easy controls, light mechanics and heavy topics. Frame of Mind has you discover a totally typical girl through finding mementos, listening to memories and making decisions that don't really have good answers. If that sounds difficult, maybe you can relate to her struggle, and perhaps even benefit from one of the aids you can find as you go through her room. I don't want to take that challenge away from you, but I do want you to make informed decisions about your own mental health. The premises and topics of the game are described in detail, so you can read up on what to expect. Content notes will give you a heads up about sensitive issues for each memento that you can find, and if you don't want to listen to the emotional retrospectives, you can choose to mute the voiceover or even skip as many of the memories as you want. But It's still a game to struggle with your feelings and not a game to struggle against my controls. So by design, it's very accessible for players with motor disabilities. It's a walking simulator with no complex inputs required. You can always save and come back later. And while there is one rushed story decision for you to make, you can help yourself in the settings if you really want to experience the time-sensitive timeline. In terms of sensory accessibility, I ensure legibility through good fonts, good contrast, and proper scaling by default. If you need more control, you can adjust audio levels, reduce motion overall, reduce gesture head bobbing, apply high frequency filters, and if my selection of legible fonts doesn't meet your needs, you can just use one from your system configuration instead. Sadly, some of my original plans, especially full screen reader support, a simplified control scheme, and closed captions, did not yet work out. But you can play the game blind with an assistant, and all important dialogue is always displayed via text. It's an imperfect game with an imperfect character by an imperfect developer. But hey, it's on theme, and I'm honest about it. An extensive list of supported features, planned features.
My name is Leo. My pronouns are they, them, and I am a disabled gamer and accessibility advocate.
Look at that fat ass Goomba in the back.
Gaming accessibility is important because everyone should be able to access the self-care and social benefits of gaming. Games have connected me with so many wonderful people, including my husband and many of my friends. I cherish memories of meeting new people and connecting with others through a love of gaming. When I first became disabled, I was worried I would not be able to participate in those activities anymore because I could no longer use a standard video game controller. However, thanks to the work of incredible accessibility advocates before me, I've still been able to play many video games and make new memories. I'm thankful to the game developers in this showcase that have made accessibility a priority. If a game is made accessible for even just one more person, it makes a world of difference. I can't wait to see what this year in accessible gaming brings.
Hello again, I'm Yamako, and I'm a solo developer making games under the name /. Pretty simple, just a daily puzzle game where the puzzles change every day. Though puzzles might be a bit of a stretch, the goal is to put each of these shapes in its matching slot, and gameplay-wise, you've got two hands to work with. That's where the skill expression, or skill ceiling, or whatever, comes from. Now, there's quite a lot of shapes and quite a lot of slots, and you've got limited time to get it done. And only your first try each day will get ranked on the online leaderboards. Everything after that is just practice, and you can practice as much as you want. But that first try, where you're seeing today's shapes for the first time, is pure skill, and that's why it's so important. So, I made this game with the personal goal of improving my skills as a developer, and I kept a small scope so that I could meet myself where I'm at, with a reasonable challenge for my skill level. And that's what I'm inviting you to do when you play Piecewise. You can fully customize the time limit to fit your skill level, since everyone's different. But no matter what, you'll want to make sure that time limit is challenging for you. Your chosen time limit will determine a multiplier that gets applied to your raw final time. In other words, the lower that you set your time limit, the more your final time gets reduced, and the better your ranked time becomes. So don't set the limit too low, or you'll fail and your run won't be ranked. But don't set it too high either, as too much of a safety net means that your multiplier will be worse. So instead of me making static difficulties, each player gets to... If you think you can beat the board in 30... They're not really the focus. And, in the full version of the game, I'll be adding bonus modes for each round that guarantee able to turn any kind of holding down the button. And there's full and alternate font if you don't like the alongside a really with an itch.io web build coming soon, and the full game releasing info sent straight to your much for watching enough and made it understandable. I hope you like the
Piecewise.
trailer, and I hope you thought my game looked fun. So, thanks for watching again, and take care.
The man
Have
showed
Near
up twice.
Allies, Eliminate Angels, Eternal Hearts, a
Seen it.
strong camera, spirit and stereo to make input screen at all times. Separately adjust the sense and for screen shake effect. Contrast dialogue at the public demo available now, or the Microsoft Store, PlayStation 5 this fall on Steam demo available now. And please look forward to the fourth two.
Is a slow and tender narrative game about dreams, grief, and hope. Rediscover your memories and find your way into the present in this intimate experience where slice of life meets surreal. In Fishbowl, 21-year-old Alo gets her first job in a new city and lives by herself while grieving her grandma's death. You take your time to take it entirely new light. Have conversations with your friends and co-workers. Experience. Style matching game track. Slow down the speed of the snippets to suit your playstyle. Since the game deals with difficult topics, it starts with a gentle content warning, linking to a full content warning on our website that includes spoilers. As you slowly piece together the meaning of your dreams and memories, you learn more about the darkness in Alo's world. The visual settings let you turn off, screen shake, and sway if you need to. We also have both visual and audio cues for events throughout the game. In Fishbowl, there are no right endings and no grinding. Do as much or as little as you're able to. Since we are a small team of 2, we weren't able to implement everything we wanted. Some of the things we couldn't get to were excluding the need for buttonholes during the unpacking puzzle and QuickTime events and forcing some timed input during the QuickTime events. Fishbowl is now available on Steam and PlayStation 5.
I am Sightless Combat, award-winning multi-credited accessibility consultant and gamer without sight, as well as accessible gaming officer for RNIB, that is Royal National Institute of Blind People, the UK-based sight loss charity. And I am honoured to once again be returning to introduce a game at the Accessibility Summer Showcase. Now, the game in question is one that I had never heard of before this event, but was very interested when I heard the words fully blind accessible as a potential thing that was being aimed for during development. Now, this game is very much under my radar, and it is very unusual. It is quirky, it is interesting, and I reckon it has a sporting chance of being the highlight of people's shows. And also, the people who are really interested in it might be making a big racket about it. Yes, both of those are puns. Yes, both of those are relevant. Why are they relevant? Because this game is the Tennis Academy. What is the Tennis Academy? Yay! Which sounds ridiculous when you think about it, but also sounds really, really cool. Particularly given I saw mention of giant boss fights and hearing once you've seen the trailer if you like this. This is a solo game dev crafting this in Godot, which is also having accessibility work looked into by the community and various developers. Works. We'll let the trailer do the Explain Academy.
Welcome to the Tennis Academy. Hi, I'm Rob, the solo creator of the Tennis Academy, an RPG early
You got a Shedinja on his shoulder.
Humankind used to be at war until the goddess bestowed us with the holy sport of tennis. You're enrolled at New Tensington Academy, where you meet a tennis ball fairy named Servi, acquire powerful Tenergy skills, save the school from monsters, and go on romantic dates with your doubles partner. My goal is to make the game completely blind accessible, meaning a blind player can play the entire game without needing a sighted player for help, and have just as much fun playing as well. If I, as a solo developer, can do this, then AAA has no excuse. To accomplish this, I'm implementing a swath of accessibility features I'd like to share with you all. The first feature for navigation is a virtual cane. Researchers at Columbia University had promising results with this, and I think it could become standard practice in video games. Use the right stick to send out your cane, and the text-to-speech will tell you whatever it hits.
Street lamp, tree.
For quick and easy navigation, there's also a nav menu that can warp you to important NPCs and exits.
Gym, outside.
I'm also including audio descriptions for every environment. In any location, you can call Servi and ask her to describe the location in vivid detail as if your DM was describing a place in a D&D session.
Through the vaguely tennis ball-shaped window. Your computer desk suggests someone who's chronically online.
By the way, did you know that there are blind tennis leagues in real life? Matches in the game will take inspiration from this with sound-adapted tennis balls and the option to auto-run to the ball.
Really?
If you want to support your local queer indie game dev making a blind accessible game, you can help me out by hitting the wishlist ball on Steam and keeping up with updates there or on my Blue Sky. Thanks for watching.
And abruptly ending. However, I mean, to be fair, the entire showcase is really just meant to go ahead and show like the accessibility and all that, so I can't say they did anything wrong. Am I gonna rate it still? Yeah, sure, but I don't know. I think I just have to put it in its own category. It's a 10 out of 10, but I have to put it in its own category because yeah, like it it's not like they went ahead. I would only like rate it lesser than that if they actually went ahead and just completely focused on one form of disability, but they didn't. They went ahead and attempted to show the various games that could go ahead and really be played with various disability and such disabilities. So yeah, 10 out of 10. It's its own category though, so can't really show anything about that. Say anything about that. All right.